Hello and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room stream. Thank you all for joining us today. Be sure to like and subscribe, of course. My name is Rigo, and today I'm joined by Drew and Ben. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Yeah, not too bad. Thankfully, we squeaked over that win against Tottenham. Would have been a different story if we didn't.
Yeah, definitely. What seemed to be at the onset just a complete thrashing of the Cock Spurs turned out to be a sweat fest towards the end there, aided and abetted by Paul Tierney, I felt. But just want to get your guys' thoughts. I know, Drew, you were mid-flight flying over the Atlantic or Pacific. I'm not sure which way you were flying over,
The
but
Atlantic, I think we went over Greenland and down through Canada to get back to Los Angeles, but I missed all the drama and had to catch it on my phone when I landed. So I only got through the first half of the replay, but very impressive first like 15 minutes, and then after that, it was like Tottenham creeping back in. I'm excited, well, maybe not excited, but curious to see the second half how it went. But I know we got the win. For me, that's all that matters at the end of the day. But you two will probably have more to say on the specifics and what that has in context. Curious to hear that.
definitely. So I'll kick it over to you, Ben, since you got a chance to watch the match. Did you get to watch the match live? You
Yeah,
were working right?
I got to watch the match. Yeah, I got to watch the match. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite make it, but yeah, 3-0 up in 15 minutes, I thought to myself, this is going to be a 6-7-8-0 this. Like, the sky was the limit, really, wasn't it? But I'm not going to lie, into that second half, my head was in my hand, and I was just thinking, it's happened again. Like, this is just our season all over this. But thankfully, Jota, what a finish. What a finish. And I know we're talking about, I know there's a lot to talk about the game, but let's just show some appreciation for that finish, because for me, so clinical, and undoubtedly the most accurate, the most decisive, the most decisive, the best finisher we've got in the squad.
I'm in agreement with you there, Ben. As far as finishing with both feet as well as his head, Jota is definitely our best finisher, and you can't really tell which is his dominant foot is, because he's just as liable to take it with his left with the same amount of power as his right. So definitely great finish, great assist by Lucas Moura. Thank you very much for that pass to Diogo. But before we get to the drama towards the end, let's go back to the beginning of the match. We were just flying high immediately. We scored in the third minute. Curtis Jones. Wow. Can we expound a little bit on the consistency and run of form that Curtis has had in these past 5 or 6 matches? I'll go over to you, Drew.
John, maybe $3.99 for each of those first 3 goals. Thank you. Curtis Jones with the clinical first one, I think. He's been one of the player I've always said he has a role to play at the club. I never thought it'd be consistently starting, but Klopp's given him his chance. Maybe kind of give him a fair audition to see what kind of role he has to play for the club going forward. I still don't know if it's a starter game in, game out, but he really has shown some good consistency in the squad. We all know he can carry the ball. Sometimes he isn't the best with making the right pass or in the final third, but especially in these past 5 games, he's been a solid player in the squad in that midfield that's been pretty dire for most of the season. So it was really good to see him take his goal so well. It was brilliant cross in from Trent to pick him out at the back post. Poor defending coverage from Tottenham, but you still got to put it in the back of the net. And I think it's, from our midfield, goals from our midfield has been almost non-existent this season.
Mm-hmm.
So to see him come and chip in with a vital first goal to get the ball rolling, set the mood up well for at least the next 15 minutes. But Curtis Jones on the whole, excited to see him get a run in the squad and take a shot. So we'll see where it goes. But I'm impressed with him so far.
Definitely, I'm in agreement as well. Very happy to see him succeeding and staying healthy and and getting a few matches in a row. He's always had a spot start here and there. I didn't feel he had enough of consistent playing time to actually show and be comfortable without pressing to produce. Ben, do you think Curtis definitely with this past 5 or 6 matches put him into Klopp's plans for next year's team and definitely having a rotation role at minimum?
Yeah, I do. And I'm going to go back on something I said a couple of weeks ago. Me and Matty got into a bit of a debate that I hold my hands up. My opinion can be changed, and it has changed over the last couple of, because he's now had a good run of consistent games, performing at a good level. I still do believe that he's one of the few players in the squad who's at the right age where there is a sell-on value there. If they did want to, get a higher profile football player, but make no mistake about it, Curtis Jones is good enough to play for Liverpool. Whether he's good enough to start for Liverpool week in, week out, I think that's the jury's still out. But if he continues like this, I mean, it's gonna be hard to not start him over what we've got now.
Yep, definitely agree. He definitely should see, health permitting, of course, see out the end of the campaign, starting every match. He's been definitely very consistent for us, providing stability there on the left, pairing up with Fabinho and combining on the left, usually in the late runner form with Jota. But to see him score a goal and kind of, yell out to the world, hey, I'm good enough to start for this team, I think definitely is a good thing. And we're Liverpool, right? We definitely want Scousers on the squad, not just Trent, right? So we should all be pulling and rooting for him. I think he's been hard done by the fan base in a lot of respect, but hopefully he's winning them over moving forward. Moving on to that second goal, gentleman by the name of Luis Diaz making his first start since October. As we all know, he's been out with a knee injury and aggravated again during the international break. Wow, that was an amazing finish. Great drive in, great pass to open up Gakpo, and a great cross and pass over to Diaz to make that difficult goal. Thoughts, boys? I'll go to Ben, to you first. How crucial and how important is Luis Diaz to this team?
I love Diaz. I absolutely love him, and I feel that he has a snap about him. Yesterday was phenomenal in the first half. I mean, he did gas a little bit towards the end, obviously, which can be expected. But I just think he gives us something that no one else gives us. His quality on the ball, and I feel like he never gives the ball away. Like, I could never think of that moment where someone's took the ball off him easily, and he has that snap in him. If he does lose it, he'll get it back. And I think we've really, really missed Diaz this season. I could almost certainly say with great certainty, if Luis Diaz had been fit this season, we wouldn't be where we are now. And I think that's how much of a difference it makes having Luis Diaz fit and not fit. And for me, he's one of the, well, for me, if I was picking the team, he would be the first name on the team sheet because I love him. I absolutely love him. I love everything about him. I love where he's from. I love what he does. I just love the guy.
It's kind of reminding me of Anchorman and Steve Carell's character's fascination with Ron Burgundy a little bit there. But Drew, do you think that much of a difference he would have made? Do you think we would have been in the top 4 spot had Lucho not gotten hurt?
I think we'd have much better chances. I think it was huge that both he and Jota missed a significant portion of the season before the season started. I thought Jota, for me, was going to be the pick for just an invaluable contribution to the team. But for me, Diaz, Ben used the word snappy, like had a bit of snap to him. And completely agree. For me, it was like the hunger to, after this long extended period, getting back from injury, to come on and start, and really you could see just the passion and the desire. And we know, thinking back to the end of last season, the game versus Tottenham, when he was the one who had that brilliant solo goal to level it up. I mean, he's certainly a player that seems to always have that hunger and desire, despite if the team's kind of flailing or flailing a bit.
Flat. If they're flat, he's there to pick up the energy and show that emotion, right?
Exactly. Just to be able to maintain that mentality level and to have that drive is huge. And it is great to see him back on the score sheet. And with all of our attackers fit, it's a huge headache for Klopp to fit everyone in. But it's nice to see everyone contributing. It's great to see, and Diaz definitely. He's for me, the Diaz, Gakpo, and we'll see with Salah, but I don't think we have any direct right wingers to really fight with him. But Jota is up there as well. And Darwin, of course, if he's fully fit and firing. It's quite the headache and quite lovely to see. So we'll see if we can get the midfield sorted.
I just think he's one of them. Sorry, Rodrigo. I just think he's one of them players that when he gets the ball, he gets people backpedaling, doesn't he? I just love the way he drives at people. He knows he can beat his man. He's an absolute dream.
And just to go back to your snap comment, Lucho almost got snapped by Oliver Skip there. Should Skip have gotten a red card on that challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Jota that he tackled, or was it Diaz? I only read that part. Haven't got there.
It was Diaz. He definitely went hard on that tackle on Lucho there. I thought it should have been a red. I thought it was a dangerous play, and I think that kind of changed a little bit after that 3-0. I felt Tierney was just letting them make late tackles, be a little bit rough, and combined with our lack of aggression after the 3-0, I think kind of contributed to letting Tottenham back into the game. But definitely having Lucho back in the starting lineup definitely provides a spark and a bit of excitement there on the left. He provides way more close control than Darwin did when he was playing left wing. And to me, offers a little bit more attacking-wise and creativity-wise as opposed to Darwin. But we'll get to Darwin a little bit later on in the stream today. So after that second goal by Diaz, we had that penalty shout for Cody, and Salah dispatched it. Salah had missed his previous 2 penalties, crucial ones for us, and could definitely come back to bite us, and probably will come back to bite us when we're tallying points at the end of the year. But he dispatched it very calmly, and we were up 3-0 and flying high. And as you said, Ben, we thought we were racing over to a 7-0 victory, much in the way that we beat Man United earlier in the season. Where do you think we kind of went wrong, and what do you think could have contributed to letting Tottenham back into the game?
I just think that one of the major flaws with this system that we're currently playing is it's in transition. I think when we get caught with the ball, we're so vulnerable, and it seems that a team is only ever one pass away from being in behind us. And I know that sounds a bit stupid when I say that, but a simple ball is causing all sorts of problems. And you could see Son yesterday just constantly getting behind Konate, coming off Trent. And it was constant. But for me, it's happening in transition. It's when we're losing the ball and it's a turnover in play that it happens so fast. And defensively, we're just, I don't think I've ever seen a player as good as Konate be so heavily impacted by confidence in such a short space of time. Like one mistake can often set him off for the
rest of the match.
For the rest of the match, and he's a brilliant defender. He's brilliant. He's fast. He's powerful. But maybe as he matures a little bit, he's still only young. He might add that calmness to his game. But yeah, I just feel in transition when we're losing the ball, we're really vulnerable in the current system that we're playing.
Question for you. As far as the system that we're playing, I just want to highlight that the spot that has been occupied by Jordan most recently, and yesterday occupied by Elliott, that right center mid role. Do you think upgrading that position to a more well-rounded player, or at least someone more defensively competent, will kind of button up those counter pressing issues as well as the transition issues? If we have a more astute defensive player than Henderson, who doesn't know how to tackle or jump for the ball, or Elliott, who's just not at it defensively. I'll spin that over to you, Drew.
I definitely think our midfield needs an upgrade. I think it's obvious now with everything that's coming out, and it won't just be one player; it'll be a few. I think Henderson's legs have gone. Unfortunately, that's just the role that he has. He's been running year after year after year, and with his few injuries as well, it just finally caught up to him. Still maybe the Milner role in his future, but. Yeah, it's. I also think pace is a really interesting thing for covering these counter attacks. To have someone with an engine, but who can also get back quickly to help out with the defense on those quick turnovers. We don't really have anyone in the midfield who's fast, and that could definitely help shore up some defense. Especially when the defenders get isolated. In more high pressure situations. We saw Van Dijk. Get absolutely done for that first goal. Again, I haven't seen the full game, so I've seen highlights and just the first half, so I don't know the exact details of the game, but just from context of what I've seen and then previous games, it just seems like it can get a bit like hectic when the ball gets turned over in transition and it's complete scramble at the back. So definitely having a midfielder that's more defensively minded, and for me a little quicker on the pace, as more legs could definitely help out in those turnover situations. But hopefully just get the defense all together. I know we've had this tweak with Alexander-Arnold, so when he comes back on defense, it's a bit of a scramble as is, but our record this season hasn't been great. So hopefully that's something that Klopp and the guys can work over in the offseason, a few additions to help shore that up. We know that we are capable of having a sound defensive unit. So hopefully that's something that gets addressed over the summer.
Definitely. Your thoughts, Ben, there? Do you think once we upgrade that right CM role, kind of those defensive mistakes, or highlighting how Trent, on Trent's side, they're getting through to us, that will be buttoned up?
I might get some stick for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I actually think Trent could play that right-sided midfield role. I think he could play that. Honestly, I do, and I think he'll play it better than Elliott's doing. And one player I'd like to see in that inverted right-back role is Fabinho. I mean, I know he's played right back for Monaco. And in transition, let's face it, he's a better ball winner than Trent. So, that might just be one tweak that I'd really like to see. I'd like to see it play out.
Yeah, we do know Fabinho played right back in his youth there, but with his pace, I think we would just completely mess ourselves up if we were to attempt that. I don't think he has enough of that pace to even drift over to that right side to cover. I know Trent was all over the pitch, and I don't think we can point to him as far as not putting the effort in defensively through this prolonged stretch now, 6 matches or so. But yeah, I don't want to shoot down your idea too quickly, but I just think it'd be hard done for us to shift that, to kind of switch them off. But very interesting in thinking that Trent could go midfield and take over that spot, and then perhaps bring in a right back to supplant them. I'm still more of let Trent be right back, world class there, and have that inverted role, but we kind of need to upgrade and soup up the players around them, at least physicality wise, to kind of compensate for that change in structure.
It sounds like something to play with in the friendlies, but hopefully, for me, I don't know.
I just think when we've got Canate, who's fast, we know he's fast. I think we could probably get away with the speed of Fabinho. I'd just like to see it. I mean, listen, I say some crazy things, and I know there's going to be many people watching this stream going, shut up. But I'd like to see it.
Definitely. All right, but then after that, the good news kind of ended. We kind of went through all doldrums there. Kane scored a goal towards the end of the first half to bring them up to 3-1. And as Ben, you mentioned there, Son was getting behind us quite a couple of times, hit the post a few times as well. And he finally scored to make it 3-2. And then towards the end of the match, the big bust up with Klopp getting furious at Paul Tierney's blowing of the whistle on Mo Salah when we were looking to kind of waste the game away. Blows the foul on Mo Salah when he's getting away from Ben Davies, and that leads to the free kick. And holy cow! Of course, it had to be Richarlison to score the tying goal for them, right, Ben?
I mean, I'm not. I knew it was going to happen. I knew he was going to score. It was just written, wasn't it? But I tell you what that's made my weekend. It made my weekend. It made my night. It made my season. The highlight of the season was Richarlison taking his top off, celebrating a goal. That meant absolutely nothing.
I really wanted Jota to break that one out. I know he has his own celebration with the controller and playing FIFA, but I really would have loved to see Jota break out the rooster celebration.
Totally. But I mean, again, it was one of them moments. It was written 3-2. Richarlison coming on, Richarlison scoring, but I think we've got to give. We've got to give credit where credit's due. Straight away they picked their heads up and we went on to get the winner.
Definitely. It would have probably been the nail in the coffin for top four had we only gotten 1 point from yesterday's match. But Drew, on that point, what do you think our chances are of catching up to Man United? And to a lesser degree, I would say Newcastle at this point. Do you think we still have an outside shot at top four? We're in fifth currently.
It's there. I don't think you can look at it too strongly other than knowing that it's there. I think it's more important that we keep building momentum in the team. Seems like the guys are enjoying their football. Saw Jota and Trent give their post-match interviews after the game, and you could tell that they were talking about building momentum in the team and that it's a good atmosphere. So I think that's most important going forward. Just focus on our games, and if Man U or Newcastle slip up, then we're there to pounce on them. But just continuing building momentum is important. Getting the goal, just getting the result against Tottenham is huge. And big shout out to Jota for the composure to take that goal. It just didn't look like he was bothered at all. He just ran on the ball. He's like, oh, this is a goal. And, it's something we've seen from Jota where he can, go in and out of games. But when it's coming in front of goal, he just lights up and puts it in the back of the net. So, just keep focusing on churning the results. And if we win, we have how many games do we have left? Five games left. I think 5 games left. If we win all 5, then put it on Man U and Newcastle for them to drop the ball. Arsenal have already balled it. Let's see if someone else can pick up their mantle.
What about you, Ben? What do you rate our chances of sneaking into Champions League football?
I've spent far too long looking at the Premier League table these last couple of weeks, and I've been trying to figure out who's our best bet. Is it United? Is it Newcastle? Who are we going to get closer to? But I actually think if we were going to catch one of them, it would be United, because they've got a really tough game on Thursday against Brighton. They've got a West Ham team where their season's not over. They've got some tough games. They have. I'm sure they've got Chelsea as well with a score to settle, and I'm pretty sure Arsenal's in there. So looking at their run of games, they could drop points. What I would say is we have to be perfect. Nothing less than perfect, and it's game over. I'm hopeful, but I probably sound like a football manager now. But let's just focus on the next game.
Definitely, you can only control what's in front of you, and just keep adding up these points. Winners of 4 in a row, so definitely on the right stride there. I think within that, and both of you guys mentioned kind of recapturing our form and style of play. I know much has been made, books have been written as far as mentality monsters, but I think now for the first time this season, we're kind of showing that resiliency and that mentality. There's been a number of matches already where we've gone down 1-0 against West Ham. We went down 1-0, and showed up, kept grinding until we came out with that 2-1 victory thanks to Matip. And yesterday as well, we could have kept our head down, let them back into the game. It could have been all well and done until we were rescued by Jota. But I definitely want to just say that it's starting to resemble the Liverpool that we kind of know. Perhaps for attacking setup a little bit different, but as far as style and mode of play, we're kind of recapturing that, especially with the counter press. So that's something that's very, very good to see. So moving on from yesterday's match, I just want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the transfer rumors circling around. First one for today from Simon Jones from the Daily Mail. Mason Mount current is being valued at £80 million and still remains a prime Liverpool target. Drew, your thoughts on Mason there? Yes, no, and at what price would you say yes?
I was like, when we got the links, I know a lot of people didn't want him, but I think he actually has a lot of good attributes for a Klopp side. He runs a lot, brings a high energy. No, he has had a terrible season at Chelsea, but when you slap a price tag of £80 million on him, that's just an absolute no. I'd get him maybe, 40 million max. I know how many years does he have left on his contract? It's just one, right? Yeah, like I don't know how you can demand $80 million with that contract left to expire, and would definitely not jump on £80 million for Mason Mount. But I think there's a player that Klopp could mold into a really, really bright future talent for England and for Liverpool. I think that's kind of like it used to be the niche that Klopp worked in, where you took the players who are just on the cusp of becoming world class and then bringing them to that level. I think Mason Mount has the package that Klopp could work with, but for me, with the situation at Chelsea, I wouldn't go above 40-45 million max.
What about you, Ben? What are your thoughts on Mason?
Yeah, I'm with Drew on that one. I mean, if he has 4 years on his contract and we're aggressively hunting him down, then you can expect to pay 80 million. But 80 million for someone who's barely played this season, it's over and above. And Chelsea, let's not forget, they might not be in a position to play hardball when it comes to the transfer table. The spending that they've done and the money that they're going to be missing out on the Champions League and financial fair play complications and stuff like that. I'm with Drew, 40-45 million at a push. I'll look at what we paid for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain them years ago. Similar situation, 1 year left. And if I'm factoring into consideration inflation, I'd say that he's a 45 to 55 million pound player. But I wouldn't pay more than 45-50 million myself. I wouldn't go above and beyond. I think there's better players out there for that sort of money.
Yeah, to me, that English tax is way too heavy, unfortunately. And he's a very talented player, and I'm in complete agreement. Under the tutelage of Klopp and Pep, I think he would raise levels. And, he's 2 years running now, Chelsea Player of the Year. This year, obviously, a down year ending in injury. He's out for the rest of the year. So I'm sure I would hope that would factor into any type of negotiations as well. A player, coming off of underperforming year and injury, 80 million. As one of our commenters stated here, what are they smoking over there at the Stamford Bridge?
And
it's
again,
not the good stuff, because that is some stuff that makes you crazy.
and with Mason as well, it's not. He is a little bit like a Jones sort of player. So I think if you brought him in, you might be putting a bit of a nail in Curtis Jones's coffin there. So I'd rather save the money, spend it elsewhere, spend it on a better caliber player, and give Jones the opportunity over bringing Mason Mount in at that sort of money. It's crazy.
All right, so I think we're all in agreement with Mason there. Unless that price gets chopped in half, move on to other targets. And another target making the rounds, and one I was very, very happy to finally start seeing some links, is Manuel Ugarte from Sporting Lisbon. Over the weekend, it was rumored that Liverpool Iberian scouts were at the match to scope him out. And Simon Jones, again from the Daily Mail, is stating that he's definitely on our list of potential targets. He has a current release clause of 53 million euros. Sporting is definitely looking for that entire entire amount. Thoughts on Ugarte? I'll go back to you, Drew.
I can't say that I'm a big watcher of the Portuguese league, but I did, my quick research, and again, seems like a player in the Klopp mold, young, early 20s. Price tag seems reasonably fair. Defensive midfielder, something that we need. Fabinho, Henderson. I know Henderson's not exactly defensive midfield, but we were just talking about the the necessity to shore up the defense or offer some help there. And Fabinho's been the lighthouse for us for the past 4 or 5 years. He needs someone at least pushing for his spot, if not taking it. But honestly, I don't watch the Portuguese league that much, so I don't know much about him except what's written. But I know, Rigo, that you're constantly throwing his name out in the chat, so I'll pass it back to you real quick to give us the breakdown.
I think Manuel Ugarte would be someone that would fit right into the Liverpool's midfield, add some steel, add some toughness, as well as some legs and the ability to drive forward with the ball. I think he's definitely what we're missing currently. And I think under Klopp, he would just be an absolute animal. Facing tougher competition than Liga Portugal in the Champions League, he was current CL leader in tackles as well. I know he has a little bit of a frequency of picking up yellow cards and picking up suspensions. That's something that, of course, I believe can get ironed out. But I think he's a very talented player. And the most tempting thing to me about him as well is that release clause. From there, you can negotiate downwards and kind of put in a payment structure as opposed to paying that full release clause up front. Kind of opens up room for negotiation and kind of sets that price. We're not looking at a $100 million target, or as just mentioned, Mason, at 80 million. We're looking at 53 million euros, not pounds. And I think that's something that's very, very attractive, especially to the FSG, as we know, the net spend. Ben, what about you? What are your thoughts on Ugarte? Have you caught any of him?
I've seen a little bit of him, to be honest with you, mainly on YouTube. I'm not going to lie, but he looks like a proper player. And one interesting stat that you just picked up on there that I read about, this season he's played 43 games. He's picked up 16 yellow cards and 1 red card. Now, not reading too much into that, but I think that's the sort of player we need. Again, going back to that South American snap, someone who can put a tackle in. Imagine if someone's putting ridiculous, 50-50, going for the 50-50s. Imagine what that would do to Anfield. So I think he's a Liverpool player. I'm very excited about him. And I'd love to see him. Not only, though, can he break up play, but he's actually really good on the ball. He's close control. It doesn't give it away that much. Really excited from what I've seen about him. And if they can make that at 53 million euros, I don't know what that converts to pounds, but that is a bargain. And I think if we sign him, I'm going to say it now, that could potentially be signing of the window, a bargain of the window for sure. I'm really excited about him.
Yep, he's definitely a player that's on a lot of teams' radars and one that could definitely fill a role for us. His defense are just outstanding. I'm looking at his FB ref, and it's green across the board, all the way in the highest percentile. So that's something that we're missing 100%. Earlier on the stream, we talked. I think Drew, you mentioned Henderson perhaps shifting into that Milner role. The one concern I have with Henderson filling that Milner role is he's not one to put in the tackle like Milner would, and he also doesn't offer the positional versatility that Milner does as well. So there's less positions for him to fill, and I feel like we fall apart a little bit defensively when he's on the pitch. So that's, if we can limit as much exposure to Jordan as possible moving forward, I think we'd be way better off. Just to harken back to that. That's my one hesitation of kind of sliding Hendo into that Milner role. But I think all around, even though we haven't had too much exposure to Manuel Ugarte, we're all on board with bringing him into Anfield for next season. Yes?
Definitely.
All right. Hey, if you're listening, John Henry, put that one down. That one's a yes. All right, moving along. And definitely in the chat, we're seeing his name pop up a lot. differing opinions. He's our controller, the only midfielder that can control the match. And also on a counterpoint, he's not a Klopp midfielder that what we need right now, and that is Thiago. Thiago is also going into his last season of his contract. It's expiring in the summer of 2024, and making the rounds on Twitter today is Barcelona's interest in signing him once his contract expires. I'll leave this open to the first one that wants to jump in. Should we be looking to extend Thiago? Should we be looking to sell him off this summer, or just let him run down his contract?
Well, to be honest with you, I reckon we should be asking 80 million for him. Yeah, seriously.
He's not English, though. He's not English.
In all seriousness, I think Thiago, he turned 32 last month. And, since he's joined us, the minimum he's actually missed, the minimum amount of games he's missed a season is this season. 16 games he's missed this season, 17 games he's missed this season, 20 the season before, and 17 of the season before that. So he misses a lot of games, and he does always seem to be injured, doesn't he? There always seems to be some knock, some hip injury. There seems to be something there. So I think there will be a bit of nostalgia for him to go to Barcelona. I think if Barcelona do come in for him, I would expect him to ask to go. But it's what sort of money you would get. For me, I think if Barcelona came in with 15, 20 million quid, I'd take it. I'd redistribute the money straight back into the transfer kitty and bring in someone else. He's one of the best ball-playing midfielders I've ever seen at Anfield. Mm-hmm. I love him. He's been great. He spends a lot of time injured. I wouldn't be gutted if he goes, and I wouldn't be upset if he stays. It's a little bit like that. It depends what we get for him. I wouldn't shift him for 5-10 million. I'd run down the contract for that. But if they come in at 15, 20 million, then I'd let him go. I certainly wouldn't tie him down to another contract. Not with his injuries and his age. I think it's time to bring youth into the squad now and go again.
Yeah, for me, I definitely love watching Thiago play. How he connects play, how he can break down defenses with his passing, and just how that ball moves once it leaves his foot, and also that little quick turn. Yeah, every time they're on, I point to my son, watch him. But I would be of the mind of, again, I know it's been our routine lately is just letting these players run out their contracts. But I think we should with Thiago in this case. I think his connection with the Spanish-speaking players is huge. He's a player that can communicate in multiple languages, even German. And again, just one of the big time players in that center midfield role. Even if he's not playing all that together that frequently, I think he's somebody who can contribute and can provide control to our team, and is great for that locker room as well. So I would definitely want to see him for next season, and that would allow us in 2024 to open up that big salary spot that he's currently earning, to then pursue even more reinforcements, or has been rumored perhaps Jude Bellingham finally makes his way to Anfield if he stays another year at Borussia Dortmund. Who knows? But I think we've messed up bringing Thiago in because we haven't upgraded in other areas. So we didn't have that capability of letting him be Thiago. We've had to rely on him to be a player, a Gini Wijnaldum / Jordan Henderson role, as opposed to just being Thiago. But that's the latest rumor there. We're coming up around 40 minutes down the stream. Just to kind of wrap things up. Any other midfield targets for yourself, Drew or Ben, that you'd like to see? I know Thuram was making the rounds as well. He's one that I really, really want, but I want to hear your guys' take before we kind of close out today's stream.
I think Gravenberch, I butchered his name, but from Bayern, if we can get him, he seems like a young, exciting player. Seems like he wants to come to Anfield. I'm still holding out for Bellingham. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely, for me, not the case that we just signed one midfielder. We need to sign more than that. To be honest, I haven't quite started looking in depth. I kind of wait till the window opens for that, focused on the season. But the Thiago situation's interesting. I think Anissa in the chat said he's a luxury player, and I think you said at the end, Rico, we hadn't been able to play what the Thiago role when we brought in. It seemed like it surprises me that he's one of the highest tackling midfielders in our team when he plays. But you two touched it. We need more than one midfielder. That what K-Mac just put up would be amazing. Ugarte in there as well, but I'll pass it on to Ben and you to wrap it up, who probably have done a little more research on this category.
All right, Ben, who do you want? Who's on your shopping list?
Well, the last time I was on a stream, I mentioned Bellingham, and I still believe it's happening. I don't believe that that's dead in the water yet. I think that's something that will happen this summer. But other possible signings, I think there's a couple of potential good midfielders going down this season, and I reckon that in the Premier League, there's one in particular across the park in Onana, already on Merseyside. Wouldn't really have to take much. Wouldn't have to settle. He's already here, and I think you might be able to get him at a bit of a bargain. And I think he's a player. But no, I haven't explored the market too much myself. But I still believe that we'll get Bellingham. But I think there's a couple of bargains to be had down the.
And that's one thing we kind of gone away from, right? Previously we brought in Gini Wijnaldum from Newcastle when Newcastle went down. Andy Robertson, more famously with Hull City, when they went down, kind of shopping with teams that were kind of struggling and needing that cash. I would definitely. What was that?
Shaqiri as well with Stoke.
Shaqiri, yes, good shout there, Drew. So I would definitely be that would be a welcome sight to see a shop there. Onana, he's kind of fell off a little bit, and again, it's a complete mess over at Everton, so it's kind of hard to judge players. But he's someone that I'm in agreement with you, Ben. Offers a ton of physical attributes. Is skilled with the ball, pretty skilled, and especially for someone that size, and could offer a lot. Another team to kind of look at is Southampton. They're pretty much guaranteed to go down as well. Romeo Lavia definitely garnering a lot of interest from Premier League clubs, as well as Bella Kotchap would be an outstanding CB to bring in. But definitely a lot of rumors going to be flying around, a lot of thoughts and ideas of how we should reshape and rebuild this team. But the main thing that we gotta have to take from this is our team is finally playing like the team that we know and love, and that's just a welcome sign. It's not. It might have been a little bit of a roller coaster yesterday, but it's been going up way more often than it's been going down. So I'll take that. But thank you everyone who joined us today on the live stream. Thank you, Drew, and thank you, Ben, for joining. And I wish you all a great day. And if we don't speak before then, I hope we get another 3 points against Fulham midweek. Make sure to like and subscribe, and take care.